right. More disco, baby.
You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot sujunti.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts. I still have a golden ear. Come, come. Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinaisse, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels.
You're not. No one around here considers us an ill omen. People would have told us.
Maybe they are afraid. Because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here. As long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then. Because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage. And not a lot of houses. Or a lot of people. My kids are long gone, searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shop. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. That's exactly how they get ya. That's why we built our own cinder block houses on the seaside. So we don't have to give money to those crooks. They might not look like much, but they are ours. My kids grew up and left like they do. The house is long empty now. I live in the small side attachment. It's easier and cheaper to keep warm. Aye, the room is pretty bare bones, but it's got a bed and roof over it. That's more than some folks have around here.
When Varson communist revolutionary Ignace Nielsen was in hiding, he stayed in a hut on the Boreal Plateau for 10 months.
Oh my god. Now this is real Revacholian hospitality. The art must be half kipped or something. Fuck. Unfortunate that incremental development hasn't elevated this neighborhood yet.
Go ahead. Call people rude things. We've heard worse here. Now, are you interested or not? Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap, a blank spot on the map, just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east, but they're away right now. And then there's the drunk. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them. I'm sure you did. Nature keeps them in rotation. A new face pops up every now and then an old one disappears and is forgotten. This is who we are.
This place is pornographically poor.
The lack of wealth is the one thing we've got in abundance.
Riddles. Fits with the general ambiance here.
Aye. Sometimes it's as though I'm also gotten lost inside this nameless nothing. Oh, it seems to be a common theme these days.
Maybe I should stay lost, just move here and disappear completely.
Maybe it would be easy, but right now you want something from me, right? Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox. An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be, during the time of the suzerain. After the war, it was turned into a goodwill hospital for shell-shock veterans and folks looking for some quiet in the old sanatorium garden. Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder block houses, shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Here, for you, no officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about.
She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the Dolores Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church. Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. No one. That's why it's closed. It was once a bustling place, back when I was young, and so was everyone else. Now, what catch we do bring in goes straight into a lorry for the Delta or somewhere else. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. I can wash it for you, but it's going to take about a half an hour. Think you can stay put for that long?
I could use a breather. It's been another track and field day.
Well, hand it over there, and I'll see what I can do. Must say, I'm proud of this one. It's pretty nice underneath all that filth. I hope you take better care of it than its last owner. Me? One. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Quite a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double.
Lieutenant W. Freighter, Harrier Dubois.
She's got a couple of ranks herself. Honored chief and so on.
Nay, I haven't seen anyone lately. This is my little cinder block town. I know what goes on around here.
She's being evasive. She knows something.
There was a murder in Martinaisse. She might be a suspect. We would appreciate your help.
Would you now? I know how this world works, and it doesn't work when people tell on each other. No, it's not like that, man. With him, we called you. Right now, you just arrived by yourself, like a raven plucking at the window glass.
Enough of this. She better start talking right now.
There's not much to tell. People come and go. Now, was there something else?
I see, ma'am. I hope you don't mind if we look around anyway.
You should look around your shack. Maybe she's rented it out to others too.
Tequila sunset. My jacket?
A look of consternation crosses the man's face. He looks at you, then at his bottle, then back at you.
What the fuck are you talking about, Tequila? Rosemary, what the fuck is Tequila talking about?
Oi, that's the jacket you stole 2 weeks ago from the kid who was making it with his gal on the beach.
That's disgusting. I've never done anything like that in my life. You're both delusional. Pound. That's medium concept stuff.
It becomes abundantly clear to you how this man managed to lose his keys, business, friends, and girlfriend. I'm calling it. It's neurological.
You know what? Fine. Maybe I can pawn it for some booze.
Aye, good thinking.
Or has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted.
It's getting late. I'll let you sweep this place on your own. I'm sure you can handle the washerwoman. I'll be sleeping in my room in the whirling. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning. Good night. And try not to break the case without me.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. As you look at the floorboards in this corner of the shack, it's clear one of them isn't quite level with the others. The edge of a floorboard next to it looks scratched. Hollow space underneath the floorboards is dark and damp. You can barely make out the mixture of sand and sawdust below. Nothing particular catches your eye. Looks like more reeds. There might be something hidden inside the sand, though. Something bad. Someone's night thoughts. A last resort. A bad idea. You stick your hand in and start combing through the sand. Dry, not like outside. Fine dust. And then something hard wrapped in paper. A small cylindrical object. You pull it out. A bullet. A 9mm bullet, to be exact. Fit for all muzzle loaders of that caliber. The floorboard isn't interested. Maybe the washerwoman is. You have enough to confront her with. A brisk coastal wind still howls against the window of the shack. Occasionally, the waves crawl in under the foundation, producing a low hum. The room feels muffled, like you pulled your hat over your ears. Outside, it is cold and windy. But you're inside. It feels safe and warm.
What is this place to you?
Behind the half-built cinder block house at the other end of the village, there are 3 people drinking. Your new crew. You don't need the old crew. Oh, no. You have a new crew to get drunk with. You already were a part of their crew once. You can get drunk with them again. You're probably going to hang out there a lot. That cinder block house. It's where you belong.
Thank you, strange sensation, for a fair assessment of our situation. No, I changed my mind. I want to choose again.
Who are you talking to? There is no one here. Not even cold. Outside, the howl of the wind has picked up. The waves crash against the stilts again. It's as if you think the thought, but in someone else's voice.
Revachol forever.
On the table, you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it, a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. Like an artist with a brush or a master swordsman, you use the small mirror and the straight razor with some soap to remove all that unkempt hair from below the nose line. The sharp blade chafes against your skin, reducing a scratching sound. The surface underneath the beard feels tender, the air brushing against it chilly. They feel so smooth, surprisingly so. A feeling of freshness overcomes you, as if you just came from a cold bath. The water reflects back a vague image of your clean-shaven face. Despite the bulbous nose, unkempt hair, and persistent swelling, you look a little younger, maybe. You almost look like a professional. The beardless nature of your cheeks makes the expression seem even more like a terrifying grimace. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see your reflection in it. The expression fixed to your clean-shaven face. You're still not accustomed to it. Still not happening. It won't come off that easy.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with?
As always, and
A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. Are you now? There are a lot of law bringers around Martinaisse, but not a lot of law. I guess men with authority have their quirks. What brings you here, lawbringer? The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. Sure. Animosity. But boys will be boys, and God knows we don't have many around. So far, the sword has been enough to keep them in line. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that.
I'll probably remember. Ooh, let's pick our next. Control, point to the expression to the base.
Not bad.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. You would put me in an early grave. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Gone. To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. Bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles.
Yeah, death is nothing. I shit on death.
Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better, drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic Insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
CL could use a mine. Where is it? Need to know about these human bodies. Drugs. Drugs? I need info on this. I need your dark.
Well, the RCM has to wait for another one because some army folks came by, took it in the middle of the bay and blew it up. The blast was surprisingly timid for such a huge spiky thing. Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Aye. Sunny days. You got a problem with that? Good. Could have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff, bad news for the nets, bad news for the kids.
There's a moment's silence. She looks at the rain streaming down the yellow belly of the boat.
Shot, huh? The boat will be ready when the sea turns and the winds settle. You can't command the weather, officer.
Waves wash the sand. The skiff moves across the mirror-smooth sea, far away from here. Lone passenger, a fast sloop in the distance, white sails. My prediction will be at least 2 days.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? Okay. When did this person stay here? Oh. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning. Yes, that's the optimal time. Got to make the most of the calm. Been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle to get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. Maybe I can help you find someone else. Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Oh? Who?
Someone's thing. It looks like there's supposed to be a dialogue option here, but like.
Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Waves are...
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with waves and fishermen? We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I asked them to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer?
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date solo? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together, so acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really. Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator.
Please, will you come to a silver walk with me.
Where would this walk take us, officer? All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Me too. It's been ages since I just had a normal conversation with one of you guys.
She means men.
All right, I'll go put the kids to bed and we'll meet at Land's End in 15 minutes.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready.
Ooh.
Date of birth generator. You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Revachol, right before it fell, in the old military hospital on the ground floor, where people usually came to die during a snowstorm. The revolution had about 1 year left to go, and the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old. The bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope.
We did it again because I don't want to put on my person. That skill.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards.
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with that? Until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer? Oh, that's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea?
It was an accident. I'm sorry. I got drunk and apparently drove it to the sea. The official investigation had been launched by me to determine just that.
This calls for a funeral, if you ask me.
Actually, in the middle of a murder.
Aye. Feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in the line of duty like that and all. Why odd? Our things are a part of our life world. They're made with our human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans. To some extent, at least.
Life world. Someone's been reading up on last century Gottwaldian philosophers. Ain't cool now.
Oh, yeah? You won't even be able to get it out of the water before early June. And where are you going to bury it? Who to invite? What music to play at the wake? Take it from someone who's been through a few funerals. It's easiest to just leave them there and let nature take care of it.
It's going to be quite a few years before nature is able to completely take care of a motor carriage. You could always come back in a few months and see if you still want to give it a proper send-off.
The pity we don't get to do more frivolous side activities. Like rejuvenate the doomed commercial area.
I understand, believe me. I really do. I think about all the frivolous side activities I could be doing every time I go out there with my nets. But daydreaming is a rich man's game. At sea, you can't afford to be careless and dream. Anyway, what are we talking about here again?
Date of birth generator.
Waves are beginning to die down. For those little bastards. Simmer down.
Do you think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things.
I have, and I don't really. Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator.
Please. Will lower your morale.
Where would this walk take us, officer? All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Me too. It's been ages since I just had a normal conversation with one of you guys.
She means men.
All right, I'll go put the kids to bed and we'll meet at Land's End in 15 minutes.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. luxury of fine things. Just look at those black monk straps. After spending an entire day hustling, who's to say that you didn't deserve a pair of ridiculously expensive shoes on your tired feet? Beautiful things give you a rush. It's power, crafting your style, draping your flesh in silk and leather, deciding how to present yourself to the world. Remember, when they come to take it away from you, you worked for those shoes. Whether you like it or not, wearing these shoes has made you more liberal, ultra liberal. They're either a gateway drug or a booster pack to get you deeper into free market ideology. These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. I know you do. These inter-Isolari pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral intern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal, even if you didn't want to be. Woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, hustled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and the sun is going down. It'll be dark soon. If we stay here long enough, we will be joined by a cortege of drunks and teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Across the rusty water, Metzler Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments.
That's a rock star thing. Tardiness.
The world? Those big words men like to throw around as though they had weight. Let's just admire this piece of the world we happen to have in front of us, eh?
As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing. The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun isn't always that great. Think of people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede, maybe desert people sometimes disagree.
The salt in the air, the cries of the gulls and the skuas, grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side. no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organisation or government. How can that be?
There's an explanation to this, and it's political. You see, begin a long, impassioned political tirade.
I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team. Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair, silver streaked in the moonlight.
I always do. I like it. It's like being on another planet, a water planet, with water worries and water joys.
The wind ruffles her hair, silver streaked in the moonlight.
These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair, silver streaked in the moonlight. Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
Stare into the sun. Yeah, massive thermonuclear reaction, 5 billion years old. The sun is a god. The only fault with the sun that it shines on us as well as our enemies. Okay.
That it does. But then, we are also enemies to our enemies, eh? And so she shines on us. The cops and the commies, the killers and the saints. You know, the wind's going to pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning.
Dude, what the fuck? Why? Oh my god. Almost as many crashes as Cyberpunk. And that's Cyberpunk.
A woman.
I know that
Across the rusty water.
drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, so an officer should be. All that running around must need a lot of structuring.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the waves and the cries of the gulls. As she turns to face, you should say something. Anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. Oh, indeed. And what about you? Keeping the name? Well then, Officer Dubois.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves. Skyscrapers.
Isn't it strange?
The sun. The sun isn't always the...
Oh,
And a bit of concept.
now you're just...
The salt.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side. No matter what we do or who we are. For absolutely no reason. Aye, it's political. No need to step on a soapbox about it. We disagree.
See? She doesn't want to disagree. Good sign. Keep it at that.
Please.
She's right. The wind ruffles her.
Thank you.
The wind ruffles her hair.
Aye.
The wind ruffles her hair. Silver.
Good one. I'm gonna go with the rope.
She thinks it was a riddle. She must not even know of that business. Better that way.
Please.
She's right. The wind ruffles her hair. Silver streaked in the moonlight. Say what? Something interesting? Impossible. She turns her head, and the plastic fishhooks rattle in her ears. Nothing shearworthy takes place in your head.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a good brain.
Aye. Brains generally aren't very good, are they? I prefer backs, arms, shoulders, lungs too. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon. Have this. No, doubt it.
This is as far.
Farewell.
As she walked,
Be quick to impress yourself. Wow. Can't wait to see Kim react about this thing. Why do you have a sword at your side?
old door, walked the concrete. You sit on the wind-worn wooden planks of the bench. Your feet ache. The twiddling barely keeps your hands warm against the frigid wind blowing from the coast. After a while, you've had enough. The old woman still sits. The buzz of electric lights blends together with the slow rumble of the ocean waves at night. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaritan children's song. Surrender to the night.
That's kind of grim for a children's song, even if it is a lullaby.
Yes, it does. Damn that girl. Gone and hid things in there? She's usually a good tenant, and not a stupid one either. Yes, I let my room to that Ruby girl. As I've done before when she's been in trouble or just looking for solitude. I've made it clear. We welcome all kinds of people here. She came last Friday, left on Monday in a hurry. What has she gotten herself into, that girl? I cleaned it, like I always do. No.
The truth, sire.
Yes, early with the dogs, around 8 o'clock, I think. She's good company, knows how to talk to an old woman. At my age, you don't get a lot of quality conversation, so I really appreciate that about her.
This Ruby is an old lady whisperer. She knows how to work the village elder, unlike you.
No, she was mostly silent this time, kept to herself. She tried not to let it show, but I could tell she hadn't come to fish. Usually she likes to cast a few lines, but this time she mostly stayed in her room.
She wanted to talk to her, as they usually do, but she was brooding.
How would I know? She's a gruff one, but not violent. She doesn't go around toting a gun.
You could ask her about your hunch, that it was a desperate measure. See if she thinks Ruby fits the bill.
Do tell. Exit from what? No, she's a fighter.
She really believes that.
Not that I know of, though she was into nice music. She once showed me a few mixtape millions she'd made. Although I guess she was pretty handy with the mechanical and technical stuff. Even fixed the heater in the shack. You should be thankful for that. I don't know. Further up the coast, she tried to leave quietly, but the hinges on that door screeched like a cat in heat. Woke me up. I heard her rushing in those heavy boots, heading up north.
It's a peninsula. She might be trapped.
You'll never find her, you know. She knows the coast like the back of her hand. You only just arrived. Are you sure you would rather stay here? Get a nice cozy fire going in the heater? Seems like a better idea to me.
The Bell Electric Mural. You feel like you should go look at it again. Step closer this time.
What more do you want to know about that poor girl? Yes, let's hear those other questions. One thing, officer. If you do find her, please go easy on her. She's a good girl, whatever she's gotten herself mixed up in.
See, you haven't left our little Martinaise yet. Still running around. Like some kind of cross-country law official. Aye. but don't let it grow too much. This is not the place to settle down. Now, what's on your mind, Officer Harry? I'll just keep the Corda Lacey in the channel, if that's okay. It's too shallow near the pier. Aye, ma'am. And it's a jetty, by the way. Of course. Jetty. I prefer a good jetty to a pier any day. Jetty. Hello, Detective. It's good to see you here. I only just arrived myself. Nothing, really. I've had my eye on this jetty for weeks now, so I decided to investigate it personally. This cluster of buildings isn't on any of the official maps, as far as I can tell.
That. And she's also keeping an eye on you.
Spying has such a negative connotation. I did track your progress along the coast, however, and decided I would be better able to assist you from here. Then there's the matter of that little scamp in old lady clothes. She threatened to paint the cordelate she red. Like blood, you see. Well, I like it the way it is. White.
What is this? Destruction of property? Hooliganism? Elder abuse?
It's just a phone. Julian and I are getting better. Since she appreciates the consequence. Right?
How do I like it?
Water drips down eaves of Eternite. The jetty below her feet creaks to the tune. The smell of salt and dog shit in the background.
It's pornographically poor. The street has no name. All the men are dead or missing. And is that the carcass of a motor carriage over there?
All right. Politics time. Let's react. Real men. Real politics. Real thoughts in your head.
Don't worry, I got her sword. This is all your fault. No changer. Working class. The working class has no deal.
Perhaps you shouldn't have. I sort of liked it on her.
Above you, there forms a quilt of altocumulus clouds, twisting into each other. The wind tugs and stretches them over the bay. Their cloud shadows slide over the ruins of Revachol West. Wherever they pass, the temperature drops slightly, but perceptibly.
Have I told you how they discovered this place? Yes, in Cielinde. Well, your condition has left you no worse off than most of these people. The literacy rate is around 45% west of the river. 50 years of occupation have left these people in an oblivion of poverty. I knew you would sympathize. Most Revacholians will never know what this place means. Our home. This island of matter. Or why they were ferried over in the first place. Remind me to tell you one day. For now, how can I assist you in this new location? I hear you have singled out a suspect and are in pursuit. This is cause for cautious optimism. I would not want to delay you. Maybe there is something else I can assist you with while you're hot in pursuit. You're back. Good. What can I help you with at this late hour? Matter of fact, I don't. I have a medical condition of my own. Nothing unusual, though. I'm old, you see. Of course. That's what I'm here for. You're back. The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those.
It's getting late, and on the table, you see a bowl of water. The water reflects almost the beardless An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see, the bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
Hear that? He doesn't even flinch. Iceman doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Blackwater, under the bridge. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad. We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from our stream. The worst of them all.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders, peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
In hell, an ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, you need to go to the church.
Yes? Yes, I don't know what to say. Perhaps. I'm not really sure about this turn of events. I think the mutton chops might have been a better idea. They sort of seem to cover up some of the
Damage.
Either way, good on you. You were saying?
You're back. Either she's gonna calm down.
Oh my fucking god. Why?
The bed is coming. The bed.
Like a
How of
This.
because you know you
hear that? You are naive to think he's afraid of his bloodied hands. Soul brother. Oh no. I see inside his amygdala and his hippocampus. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
we're trying to
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage.
Oh, but you will. You're already going there. Slippy. How long can we keep you from the precipice? One more dream? 2 max, baby. Then it's of hell.
Everything is so... Oh, your eyelids flutter.
The last.
Yes? Yes. I don't know what to say. Perhaps. No, it's okay, I guess. I may have preferred the mutton chop.
Damage.
Either way, good on you.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating.
Children are stupid.
You're stupid. Okay. You're stupid.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave now. I'm gonna leave and do anything.
Just a second ago, the first one was laughing. Now he's doing something with his lips and his gap tooth.
Hello, mister.
Little Lily.
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think someone hid them there.
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were going to take them. They're stupid.
We're going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Yes, I am. Little Lily. Do you know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. Luby. Luby. My mom tells me I'm a big girl, but she doesn't know that I can't say Earl. Or sometimes I can, but then Uller.
Kids.
Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. They look identical. It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you make up for the skewer you broke.
I don't know. Sure, just go and get it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry.
All right, you just need to grab it from the ceiling and go.
It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of.
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Yes. Very soft. Isn't he soft?
Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall.
What?
It's not the phasmid. It's not even organic. It's a fire iron. How disappointing. Don't be too hard on yourself. You couldn't have known that for sure. And, besides, finding this phasmid is your special destiny. You can feel it. has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network.
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front.
You see, a slogan used to intertwine above the mirror, a collapsed roof, broken windows set in walls that are cracking and will soon also fall, and the coastal breeze rustling and sighing, the remains of the edifice. Failed electrical. How ironic. All these dark rooms. Failed electrical. You only know them as a small company that makes ink cartridges. Looks like they used to be big. There's something in the wind. Sometimes the only way to go forward is to fail first. Indeed, somehow you knew it was here. An urban ruin gutted by looters that once used to consume money and dispense warmth and light. You felt it before when it rained in Martinaisse, and you felt the cold of the rain. The feeling persists. It has been in you ever since.
In there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there. Or in the boat shack. In that church tower, maybe.
Why single out this one building?
Found the empty trap. On the day expected execution. With that awful call. Death notification.
Even though you're sure you succeeded, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen did not, and now you're just standing there in the pale of the morning, with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire? A trick for when you're out of ideas?
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We already scanned most of the outdoor areas. Trip did hunt, so we have an understanding of the geography. And then there's the church. If I were a murder suspect, I wouldn't hide in the most prominent building here. But who knows? Maybe she's reckless.
Or spiritual. She could be looking for refuge.
Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way. Sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula. Ask the locals. Enter the places where we can enter first. Like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, tomb drainage, this place. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you. Buckle up and raise your collar. This search is going to be wet and cold. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it, in through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay, why? So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically. Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
Hello. Isn't this a fine morning? How to climb that ladder, you see? I do know that Lomantangs used sticks to climb battlements. There's even a special technique for that. Then there's also the method of climbing that the ancient Ilmarans used to get into the huts of their enemies. From an evolutionary point of view, you could see this building as a logical conclusion to the more traditional hut. In this case, I suggest looking into the Zeolite Invisibles class. The word refers to their remarkable ability to traverse any environment in the most efficient way possible. This is excellent investigative piece of journalism by... Yes, I have. There was this one time where I...
Mark my words. All of this somehow ties into the history of Occidental financial markets.
Alternative? I don't even have a mainstream way in, I'm afraid, although... There's a sewage pipe there. Maybe that does something? Sorry, I can't help more. No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
So you haven't seen anyone around?
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
He's telling the truth. He hasn't seen anyone. Old pipe peeks out from beneath the rotten boards of the boardwalk. Could this be an alternative path into the fell building? A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions. Perhaps a basement access. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder. An ordinary drainage pipe. Darkness. As your eyes adjust, you see some trash. Crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side. And nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe.
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely, and not without risk to our health either. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around...
The lieutenant's face lights up. He doesn't usually notice these little things.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
Oh yeah, big boy time. This needs you to put your back into it. You and the lieutenant lean all your weight into pushing the doors apart, but you're not quite synchronizing your efforts. They slam shut again before you can enter.
Let's take a breather and try this again later. It's very tough.
Behind the pipe. A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall, with another 7 shades, a cold behind them. As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no? What brings you down to the scenic Martinaisse coast? Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market. And, well, I wished to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Really? Here? How can you be sure? Ah, a very useful gift for a police detective, I'm sure. Fascinating how much history is contained right here, if only one knows where to look for it.
You feel like there's something you could say here, if only you really knew what was going on.
Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists. The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol. It acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinaise.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinaise in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Yes, you've made your persistence quite clear. Under normal circumstances, I would have to insist you go through the regular check.
No, you can't let them give you the...
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. You see, in addition to being an airborne artillery platform, Coalition Warship Archer is also the linchpin of the Coalition's surveillance and communications infrastructure in Revachol. And listening, it has the most objective vantage point in the entire city. Not to mention a vast array of radio, photographic, and meteorological monitoring instruments. I find it a great comfort to know there are benevolent powers watching over all, in strict accordance with the Wayfarer Act and the Brüssel-Mühne Convention. This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-coalition use. Yes, it is a bit of economy. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unfortunately, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government, not very well versed in technology. But you...
Perhaps your young friends in the tent might be of assistance?
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
A rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. Some of the rungs are missing.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground? And you're 180? Okay, but still, the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder?
Teleportation is not a thing. Okay, let's say teleportation is a thing. Wouldn't you need some kind of scientific apparatus to create a teleportation field? You can't just do it without apparatus.
What are they talking about?
Teleportation, Mikhail. It's generally thought impossible.
Oh yes, it could hurt. A lot.
He is restraining himself from using a parental tone with you, right?
What the fuck? Teleport to the roof. What the fuck?
The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. On second thought, maybe teleportation isn't a thing. Because you're just standing there squeezing your buttocks, nothing is happening.
Kim, it isn't happening. I'm not teleporting.
Teleportation apparatus? I don't remember mentioning anything about teleportation apparatus. Please don't try to climb the building. We'll get in another way.
He did. He totally said something about the apparatus. God damn it.
I have to try this. This is just too dumb.
The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. All you need to is zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
Don't gloat, just stand there like a Samaran master.
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it like a regular person.
The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear,
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring without backup, especially if we think the suspect may be hiding here.
Damn it.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get this door open. Officer, are you okay in there? Yes?
Two rusty... It's much easier from this side. The panels on the rails, once you dust the sand off, with the help of your partner, from the other side, the door opens with a creak.
I hope no one dangerous heard that. Yes, time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way to do that. Could this have been the killer's hideout? And this narrow window, the point of origin of the shot that killed the mercenary? Outside the window, the day is clear and as mild as can be in early spring.
It's a great place to hide, certainly, but there hasn't been anyone here in ages. Indeed, no one could get a clear view. Well, at least we've been thorough. I like
The lieutenant's voice betrays a slight disappointment, which he glosses over by reasserting control. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. Plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly. Someone crouches, heels digging into wet sand. Hands sweep across the sand. Grains stick into the frayed skin of the fingertips. An old man sits on a slab of concrete and taps his fingers against the glass of a scope. You shudder.
Yes, I can see that. Looks like some communists were hiding out here. They left a long time ago.
The lieutenant does not seem to share your enthusiasm.
Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinaisse being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case. Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
Swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. Strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. But you are the sensitive one.
It's not a quib. The situation is dangerous. You trust your gut feeling on this.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinaise. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
You mean Morel? I don't see how cryptozoology and the murder investigation are connected, but the situation in the city will get tense for everyone.
If it gets that tense, the amateur zoologists might not be able to do their job.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Turning back in game's ending starts.
You hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once, but her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
The voice coming through the whirlwind of pain is not malicious. She doesn't want to hurt you, but she has to. Doesn't wish to hurt you, not according to your ear canal. Wait, no, not even your ear canal. This is going directly into your neural pathways. That's an awful decision. Why would you not want to shield yourself from it? It's an entirely new type of experience. Way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing is the ULAN frequency, blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
178-103. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength parabola. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She's been holed up in here for a while. No one to talk to. Keep her talking, and you just might get the opportunity to break it loose.
I built it myself.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah. Way beyond. No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream.
Momenti mi villas. Momenti mi villas. Non vedrò.
Yeah, I've stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not cops. But so, merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
3, 7, 1, 8, 9, 2, 8.
Continue on mattress. Story excuse 971047302819. Almost a needle, Turn this.
God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a twin-barreled front loader, not like the murder. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. Just keep her talking, and you'll get through this.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not surprised. So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find in my back. Not anymore, no. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit.
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, well, I guess I always knew she was a survivor above all else. But she couldn't have known I was on the post. How did you find me? Bye, boys? What? I don't even understand what you're trying to get at here. Oh, doesn't even matter. How could they be my boys when they're not even my friends? These guys like me, I know it. This is what happens to people who people like.
Dull despair is creeping into her face.
How the fuck do the rest of you get by? I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same. Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
The strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style. So now I'm leaving revolutionary symbols around? Come on. I never did understand why, when someone dies, a hothouse's worth of flowers has to die too. No, I did not. I didn't like him. Hardened mercenaries aren't particularly likable types. Plenty of broken people who don't come with that kind of body count. Besides, they're paid well for what they do. Yeah, sure. And I didn't like wild pines sending in those foreign hirelings. Me and a fuck ton of other people around here. I'm listening. Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon me. Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time.
No one takes a 15-minute leak.
Look, fuck you, man. I might also have stopped by the bar.
She's speaking the truth.
And? No, they're not practical. Break too often. The gun store. Triggered Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. Sure don't.
A breech loader?
No. A knocked way 80 front loader. 2 barrels. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing.
That isn't it.
That Merc is probably shot from a distance with a military-grade rifle. Otherwise, everyone at the whirling would have heard the shot downstairs.
Yeah, evidence. So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician. Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking? That's your prerogative. No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum.
There. It's going to be easier to reach the machine.
Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum.
There's a sinister note in her voice. Even with the gun and the compressor, she's afraid.
Yeah? Where?
More questions before doing anything.
I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
That strange, distant fear is getting close now. It's a fear of yourself.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
You feel something in your chest, and unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm. Yeah, screaming isn't happening on account of extreme shortness of breath. You're just making it worse. Oh God, all you feel is pain and weakness. You have to surrender now. We all do. It gets so dark. You don't even see her face. Like you always thought you would. You only see pain and fear. Cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the RCM passed away yesterday. His death, though abrupt, did not come as a... Yellow plastic dome. There's a bitter... more than twice your height, stands shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city. A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should probably let it be. It's becoming clear that there's no trace of the suspect anywhere inside the church. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Fell mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although you see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard, the hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from its diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good morning, Fortress accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? I have two machines registered to this company name in Martinaisse. One on Saint-Brune, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Saint-Brune, that's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, that's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
I am contractually obliged to protect.
I'm afraid we are not doing that. Unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this login attempt. Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Nothing happens. silence in this part of the church. It's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? I wonder why the church was built with such strange acoustics.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Could be.
He doesn't seem entirely convinced, though. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and it's making its way toward you through all the other shadows. Yes, the darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go? Prepare for an attack. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it. Is that a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building? He is studying you intently. The crab man. The man leans forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry. Everything's gonna be all right. You come to the right place.
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in general. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol. Hold on. Stop it right there. See? What's with this?
You really got a case of frayed nerves. Pussy. And this usage comes from pusillanimous. Everybody knows that.
Oops.
Chill out, man. Here you could receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of that despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence. And you don't even know it. I was like you once, just dragging my feet to the next bottle. Shit was dark, Holmes.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
If the lieutenant agrees, then maybe, just maybe, you should pay attention.
It doesn't matter who I am, Way. I'm just bringing you the message of the mother's love. She don't want you to hang yourself on your own stubbornness. This is the church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? 'Tis not an act, my liege, save him perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you got for me, I won't stop you from using it. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. It may be that I gotta work on my technique. I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. Nah, ese, it's not like that. Best thing that could happen to you, losing your memory.
Achievement. For them of becoming end 8 times.
Do you remember your name, sir?
The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to assert some control over the conversation.
Tiago's my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just your identity, but also, so to speak, your place amongst your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly. Oh, that's no simple question, Ese. She is one who can be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will. I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
That sounds a bit like substitution behavior, no? You know a thing or two about that.
It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service.
Too gleeful, those words. He is lying. Not to you, to his very own self.
I heard that before, Way, and I know I can't convince you on the spot. But think, when's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night? She took you for a good spin, huh? Don't worry, bro. That love is but a drop compared to the ocean of the mother's love. The mother will eat all of you and never spit you out. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I know it will take time. Don't sweat it. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. I ain't from no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking. And the song I sing is silent as the mother.
Marietti is a mesque style of music and dance, commonly seen at all manner of festivities, especially weddings. It's delightfully quaint, owing to its peasant origins.
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, Way. It didn't belong to me.
The sinewy figure lingers on the wooden beams, blending into the shadows.
police raid a while back.
Did you witness it?
Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Guessing they're the ones who call me a crab. Probably scared of me. Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway.
Though we used to, a long time ago.
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
Wait, what if it's Ruby?
Did it ever seem to you like she was hiding here from something?
You mean like a fugitive? No, man. Quite the opposite. I don't think she cared much about authority or anything else for that matter. Maybe only about her machines.
I see. And where is she now?
I told you, Holmes. I don't know. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Too many times, Essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. I think we're done here, Essay.
That was an interesting conversation.
Yes, it was.
However, I'm still not sure whether we'll find our suspect here.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. The speaker.
Good morning. Votre accident sounds good. Please repeat the password. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna. Had some problems setting it up. Called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. Artists, yet again. Harassing citizens, stealing badges, occupying public spaces with installations, like the one here. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. I think these people worked in the radio computer games business, the one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinaisse people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinaisse. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinaise of her.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with the machine.
No. It was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things about machines. March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping-pong energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. Interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. Straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
What is it? Yes. Or no. Not anymore. That project is dead.
She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized. Rather sad. Something passes over her face before she straightens her back.
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper. I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you. No. Yes. And I don't care. I don't care about crap men.
Wow, she really doesn't. Not afraid, this one.
What? No, no one's suspicious around here.
She has not seen her, sire. 'Tis true.
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. I use the AR-1 as my RAIM prefix processing unit. Mm-hmm. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. On the front, the unified front of radio waves, licensed and controlled by Lintel in the East Insulindic region. It's all around us. That's what on air means.
Like love.
I guess it is. So far, I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinaisse is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing. I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core. The light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
It's not just rudeness. It really is hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do. And you're not helping.
So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. Because I needed something good for my investigation and Reims Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a Reims prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see Ream prefects in every police department, for example.
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade Reims Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as Reims Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. They are connected to my Reims Prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great. You really like those questions, don't you?
They're bloodshot. She really hasn't been getting much sleep lately, has she?
No, I'm not. It's just me and the crab man. I'm just doing some research, that's all. I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
What?
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
That's a little above your pay grade at the moment.
I don't know. Are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. But how do I figure it out? You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark. Most of the tower disappearing into the shade.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow. And the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't. Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Yeah. Like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music. This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. Take a guess, why don't you?
Petting zoo. A place for animals.
I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
Do I look like someone who has time for side projects at this moment?
If you want her help, maybe you should help her first.
The swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks.
Need more logic.
Yes, what is it? The swallow, you mean? What about exactly? What do you think?
That's a little above your pay grade at the moment.
You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Great. Thanks. Yes, what is it? Yes, what is it? The swallow, you mean? What about it? Exactly. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have?
Easy. You measure it by the world around it.
Exactly. Very true. That's what I've been aiming for. That's why I have those basins. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Because, and I don't have a... Yes, that's great. Thanks.
Young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. Mother of humanism stands above you, a precious and complex, despite the damage you've done to yourself. The title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Dei, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated. Act into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. Many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigateur, Queen of Serene, modern-day Sir Laclais, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene la Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. As did we all, the lands of the Mesk and the Occident, and even faraway Supramuindi, altogether 21 of the 40 mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted Innocentick rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vespa Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already her terriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Therriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Dei was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves. The man was reported to have screamed at the innocents. Dolores Dei was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Dei, constantly surrounded by her Therriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Dei often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacific, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Dei to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Okay. This church, the coast in general, we shouldn't linger here. This isn't a good place to get lost in. We should conclude our business and move on. The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinaisse, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Ravachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Setsa, they call them, the 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find an instigator here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. The name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
The mother of humanism stands above you. A precious and complex jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one, and a text, a light motif below them both. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence Day advised about. She herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, farriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail. Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in DeLorean sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Ice cool.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
Easy. do this next week. Like, mm-mm.
Hello again. No,
Just no?
it's pretty desolate here. I only hear the dogs bark at night and see the shadows move down the coast. Superstition. We can turn the grim desolation into a fun dance club and thus also help turn this hellhole around.
Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional, but I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, for Police's Martinaisse, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinaisse? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
He's right. There are no airtight theories, just paranoia. You've given it some thought. Now let it go. The large-headed youth has closed his eyes, lost in the music. Sensing you, he opens them.
Good morning, comrade. Yeah!
The large...
Good morning, comrade. Yeah!
You know it in your lungs where the pressure should vibrate. In your heart that's alone. And in your solar plexus where the hits should land. So does every chord ache.
What? Wow, okay.
We should start with the melody. But where would we get that stuff from? I'm sorry. I don't know anything about Nordic music. I'm just the party boy. I get the people going and say it's hardcore.
He feels ashamed he can't be of more service to the future of dance music. The young man falls silent with appreciation. He even tries to contain his smile, as if it could hinder your investigation.
Basically, what you need to find here is a tape with some banging music on it, so that Egghead could use it to remix Van Eyck's Jam.
Yeah, maybe that street talker across the pawn shop has got some tapes to sell. That's just an idea.
There is a hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gislain, right next to the canal. A reel of magnetic tape is caught in its branches, like bronze ribbons blowing in the wind.
Does it? Oh, I know! I know this! I can tell you where it is!
St. G is the boulevard before the canal bridge. The one that takes you to the whirling in rags and the industrial harbour. It's got the lanterns and the...
I knew that! I could have said that!
And the mosaic sidewalk.
But it's all blocked with that stupid traffic jam right now. Anyway,
that's all yours to figure out, Copman.
Copman! Tape! Yeah! Spin the tape until the space escape! Yeah!
Give him the great door gunner mega mix.
No! No! This is gonna make people scared! Keep it positive! Keep the love in the house! Communism forever!
huh? I see you're here again. Off sign, man. Did I mention getting us into the church would help?
This young speed freak seems to know a lot about signs. Could he be the techno tinkerer you're looking for?
Don't think so. Big bad frequencies are extremely negative. Thought suppression, dream implantation, memory revision. Pretty out there stuff. Not sure I want to get involved with it.
There is fear there, but also curiosity. He just needs a reason to help you.
Besides, our own signs aren't even synced yet. So how am I supposed to get you synced up with a big bad? It don't make any sense, little lover.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Goodbye, officer.
Rue de Saint-Gislain. Oh my god, there's so much stuff to do.
Either he's gonna come.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But he's really gone. Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but he just had to prove how tough he is.
Did he feel like he has to prove he can still pull his weight? Doesn't need hand.
Yes, he was about to head home. 'Cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him. Oz is gonna be buried without it. No, René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable.
He has doubts. But right now, he just wants to move on and not think about it.
I repeat, an absolute Kent. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to. We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a Kant and he died a Kant. Let's leave it at that. Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny... I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo. Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is, part of life really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything really. But you must need something. René wasn't really what you'd call a botanist, officer. And believe me, he didn't like Insulindian lilies. That's their old name, dating back to the time of kings and crests and all that other stuff he loved so much. There were many reasons, but mostly it was the communals. They called them the belts of revolution. I guess in the end, the Insulindian lilies were just another piece of the whole Insulinde. The royalists had to surrender to the Mazovian insurgents. It doesn't really matter anymore. Yes? What about René?
Yes.
It is what I just don't know anymore.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? 57.
In the cabin. In the morning light, the white on blue police livery on the motor carriage cannot but catch your eye. Do something important? Something murder-related? There's always something important. Doesn't mean you can't take a moment to admire this piece of machinery. This is a Caprice Canema, the Caprice Motor Corps follow-up to their highly successful workhorse, Caprice 40, and the answer to the Lum's racing breed, Ferv series. With its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Canema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds and go on to a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. The high center of balance is offset by a large battery bank mounted at the bottom of the cabin, feeding all the auxiliary systems and making the Canema effectively a mobile power plant. Due to a quite steep price tag, it is very unusual to see one in police livery.
You want to take a closer look? 130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there.
7.2. Supercharged.
Saying these words brings him immense joy.
Yes, an extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down. Helium headlights would improve the range and quality of the visual field a lot. It's a bit girly right now. Fit it with some proper off-road components.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast first. Maybe. Yes, definitely maybe.
And means no. The woman is still hunched over the railing.
Huh? What is it? What do you want? And what is that?
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the bail, and now he's talking to everyone about it. Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
I'm contemplating, Kim. I'm drawing existential conclusions from this.
Exactly what I didn't want you to do. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in Pale Transport.
No offense. But your partner? Seems like a bit of an idiot.
Republica, a filterless cigarette from Misk.
Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Pergunte a Poeira. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, and the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Dei was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent.
Why?
Oh, sorry, officer.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio mic. In the morning light, the white on blue do something important. This with its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12, even if someone has waxed it recently.
Mm-hmm. You want 100?
I reckon that
You lost me. The kidney?
Armel Ryu.
Yes.
It's nice helium head. It's a bit girly right now. Fit it with some proper off-road.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Maybe.
And means no.
Make way for the...
The woman is still...
Huh? What? And what?
Great. Fine then. Exactly what I...
No.
Republica. Filterless cigarette from Misk.
The smell of liquor, the look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocent Dolores Dei. Heroic doses, heroic. Thought insertion, dithering, the Grad Catalan Magistral. It's more than dangerous. It's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this, what are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor, like looking into the ocean at night. In the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets and electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the cell windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round. Multi-axle trailers.
Yes.
No elaboration.
They say there is a point. One that I have not crossed. In the Pell, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south. It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Sheriff, not Pell drivers. Way beyond the established Pell that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark, and the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
In the center of this town is a ghostly motorway, she sang.
No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance when I was a child. A child growing on the lap. Oh, Diana.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. The child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, detective. Let's get some air. This one's far gone.
The woman looks at nothing, her eyes closed and her lips moving. Girl child, you hear her say. Girl child, girl child.
Huh? What is it? What do you want?
Do work!
Hold on, Wandering Man. How can I help you? We're negotiating our... Aye.
The man whispers.
Los Ardis? They're an independent militant group. A bit too high-strung, but it comes with the responsibility. They're sort of like you. Preserve the rule of law and all that. Except it's Everard's law. But really, they're just like you.
Is he actually comparing you, officer of the law, to some neighborhood vigilantes? He's just trying to keep the peace.
Why not? Must be nice being something else for a change. The rest of us are just folks.
The tear machine, your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money... The tear machine stands in the corner. The sign says... The tear machine.
No. You need tear to use the tear machine.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Okay, here. I hope St. Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope St. Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. Okay, here. I hope St. Baptiste makes you feel better or something.
Looking for something?
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Again? I can't believe this shit. Neither can I.
It's a mere second.
I'm going to say, God fuck.
None of it. Okay. I was clearly wrong.
Okay, why not? Let's do the whole thing over again. We're not wasting time.
There is no time. I get it, okay. But what is the motive? I don't know. Why are you? Oh my god, there's more.
Yes? What is it? It means I'm a patrol officer, sir.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face. Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say. Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool's errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary. You have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Be real. Gary is not going to help with this.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How? I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. Didn't really think about whether it was real or not. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
No, at least I don't think I did, but Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That, and for years his belief made me believe too.
That I am a queen, an extraordinary witness to grace.
But now we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything. He's hiding. These things are tough on him. Matters of love, not violence or deceit. An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care. All qualities these two seem to share in abundance.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple.
There's nothing wrong with that.
If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university. But if the dream comes to naught, what good is it? No, the thing is, I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived, on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story, maybe, but then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste more of your time. What you have to know is the Insulindian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life.
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
A true believer. Sometimes I still see it too. The real memory of it, how it was there. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart. Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
Really?
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel.
No one can stop you from finding the phasmid.
Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road. Jamrock, but
She doesn't think you'll need it.
you too, sweetie. Thank you for everything, truly. Even though it turned out to be a
waste of time. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The guest enters quietly as she gets through the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's raining.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness. To ask the wind once more.
Can I help you? What is this thing? Okay. Okay, well, this is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
People just don't know how to accept gifts, especially taxidermy. He likes it. This was mostly about the fucking cardio. Massive cardio here. You'll live till 90, or you get a heart attack from running.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my time?
Yes?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your clean-shaven face, adorned with the expression. You're still not accustomed to it.
What the hell?